Good evening. Astronomy is still one of the few sciences where amateurs can and do make valuable contributions. They have their own telescopes, their own observatories, and every clear night you see them out there making measurements, taking photographs, doing all kinds of things professionals don't want to do, haven't got time to do. This evening we're going to go to some of these amateur observatories, beginning up in Northumberland with Dr. Chris North.
This view of nighttime Britain seen from space shows the light-polluted cities and the dark countryside. In this programme, we visit astronomers who are observing from both. We start our observatory tour in County Durham in the northeast of England. I've come to the little village of Chilton to find one of our best planetary imagers. Keith Johnson lives here with his wife Kath, and he has an impressive setup in his garden. Keith has a reflecting telescope, a 9-inch Schmidt Cassegrain. He well remembers what got him started in astronomy. It was 1972, and power cuts opened up a whole new world to a young lad, hungry to see the stars.
The first time I actually got the bug of astronomy was when I was 14-year-old. At that time, there was minor strikes.
Right.
And the power stations had to conserve fuel. And so now and again, you'd get power cuts. I went over to call my friend who just lived over the road from me, and he said, "Come here, look through this." And I could just make out a bit of light in what turned out to be an eyepiece. And I looked through, and it was Saturn.
Wow. And
the way how we explained it was, that's another world. You're looking at another world there. And it's the first time I'd actually looked at it, and that was it. It just got us.
I think Saturn's one of the first things I saw through a telescope, and it's such a hook because it looks so different through an eyepiece, because it goes from a small pinprick of light to this ringed world.
Yes.
It's marvellous.
Yes.
Keith likes to look at our planetary neighbours. Being relatively close and bright, the planets are ideal targets for astronomers in a light-polluted area. Mars is a fascinating world, with weather and seasons causing changes that can be visible through a modest telescope. Here is Syrtis Major, a dark volcanic plain created by a long-extinct volcano. Another favourite is the gas giant Jupiter, with its ever-changing bands of clouds and famous Great Red Spot. Keith also has some fabulous moon images. This montage of the phases shows how it changes over the month. Even with binoculars, you can see the craters and dark larval plains, but with a telescope, you can see features such as the Apennine Mountains in remarkable detail. These ancient volcanoes, some as high as 3 miles, sit on the edge of the Mare Imbrium, a conspicuous lava field. The moon, an alien world which is so close, yet so far. The cold nights in County Durham are quite a challenge, but Keith has found a way of returning to his comfort zone.
So Keith, you've got this telescope here, and I'm used to seeing telescopes on a tripod in people's back gardens, but this one's on a plinth.
Yeah. Basically what it was, I wanted to make life easier for myself. I'm predominantly into planetary imaging, and one of the things that I found when I was planetary imaging was to do high magnification imaging, you had to have a very, very accurate polar alignment.
So that's making sure that the telescope's aligned with the pole star so that it tracks the sky as the Earth rotates. And the
That's
sky
correct.
moves over.
But what I found was it took that much time to get polar aligned every night and to feed the cables out for the camera, for the power supply, that more often than not, I'd no sooner get sorted out and the clouds would roll in.
Right, okay.
And then if it wasn't a lovely clear night, then there was the added trouble of around about 4 o'clock in the morning when it's a bit of cold and you're tired, the thought of having to put everything away again, and it was just, it's just something you just don't want to do, which is why a lot of people have observatories. Because of the light pollution in the area and there's not a lot of space, I thought, wait, it's not going to be practical building an observatory. I thought the next best thing I can do is have a sort of pedestal and have the cables running outside from the conservatory. On a bit of cold night, you'd be lucky if you can stand 10 minutes before the cold's biting through you. But in there, where it's nice and warm, you're there for as long as you want to be, as long as it's clear.
Keith also likes to look at things outside our solar system. The Orion Nebula is an immense cloud of dust and gas around 1,500 light-years away. The young stars forming at its centre cause the gas to glow, but its immense distance means that long exposure photographs are needed to capture the intricate detail. Such faint objects can be washed out by light pollution, but Keith has found that a friendly word with the council helps matters along.
I can't help noticing there's a couple of street lamps right outside your house. Do they interfere with your observing?
They do, but not as bad as what it used to be.
Right, okay. How did you solve the problem?
Well, the first thing I did, I actually got in touch with the county council, and what they're implementing is throughout the northeast, as a cost-cutting exercise as well, is to have full cut-off lights, which they're cheaper to run. The light is beamed straight down is where the light's supposed to be.
None of it goes up into the sky.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, they came out and they had a look and they tilted the lights. They turned the lights away. So it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than what it actually was. The other thing that they're going to implement is all the street lights is going to be all computerised, so they can switch individual lights off or dim them in places where the lighting isn't necessary.
Oh, right, okay.
In the battle against light pollution, Keith has shown that perseverance pays off, and his magnificent images are proof that even in urban areas you can do some amazing things. We're staying in the northeast of England, where there certainly seems to be a cluster of superb astrophotographers. It's now on to our next astronomer, who lives in the city of Durham.
Well, here we are to see Jörg, and this is a chap you know, isn't it? Well,
Paul and I have come to visit Dr. Jürgen Schmoll.
yes.
He's an amazing chap. He's very technical and grinds his own mirrors.
Oh,
During the day, Jürgen builds astronomical instruments for large telescopes, such as the VLT, but the night is all his. Jürgen has a vast collection of telescopes, some like this Ritchie Crichton, which he has bought and adapted, but many he has built himself, like this Newtonian reflector. And from his backyard, he takes amazing images of just about everything you can think of astronomically. I am really keen to see his setup.
I can see telescopes.
oh wow, look at this.
That's
Jürgen
amazing,
originally
isn't it?
came from Germany, but he settled here and loves the north of England.
Ah, Jürgen.
Oh, hi, Pete and Paul.
Hello,
Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
What are you doing up here in the frozen wastes of the north?
Yes, observing. Yeah. I didn't bring any telescope with me when I came. I thought, oh, I'm only for 2 years, and it's always raining in England. So,
You've noticed.
yeah, first thing I came, there was a spell of clear sky. Jupiter was grinning at me and had no scope.
Well, what about this telescope, Jürgen? Because it looks very large and brand new. Well, what type of telescope is this?
Yeah, it is indeed brand new. I just got it a few weeks ago.
Won't touch
It's
it.
actually, it's actually a Ritchie Crichton telescope, which is named after two opticians who developed this in 1928.
Right.
And lots of professional telescopes are built like this. They're quite good. I got a bit addicted to the high image scale.
Isn't Ritchie
Yes.
Crichton the same technology used for the Hubble?
Yes, it is.
It is,
actually,
yes.
It's the same.
So you have your own
technique.
little Hubble here.
Your own
Yes,
little
yeah,
Hubble
yes,
there.
yeah, you can say so, yes.
Jürgen has so many wonderful images, it's hard to choose some favourites, but his star clusters are particularly nice. Some are new objects with stars that have formed together, such as the Pleiades or Messier 45, or the double cluster in Perseus. Others are much older objects containing many thousands of stars, such as the globular clusters M15 and M13.
What kind of astronomy are you into then?
Mostly deep sky astrophotography.
Okay. And do you have any favourite objects that you like to image from
Yeah,
up
for
here?
example, the Andromeda Nebula. I got a bit addicted to an object called NGC 206 in the Andromeda Galaxy.
Oh,
Oh, yes, yeah.
Star cloud area, isn't
Yes.
it, on one edge of it, yeah.
I like Jürgen's comets, such as Comet Garrard. Small, dirty snowballs tumbling through space. As they near the Sun, the surface evaporates, creating a halo and characteristic tail. In 2007, Comet Holmes graced our skies and underwent a massive outburst, which unbelievably created a halo bigger than the Sun. Jürgen keeps alive an old tradition in astronomy, making your own telescopes.
You grind your own mirrors and optics
Yes.
as well.
I have to say, I always admire people with those sorts of skills because I'm quite hopeless. But you have some mirror grinding equipment outside,
Yes,
don't you?
yes, I do, yes.
Let's, can we have a look?
Yes. Yes.
And my word, that is a big bit of glass, Jürgen.
Oh, yes, it is definitely.
size of it.
It's 24 inches.
It weighs a ton.
That's enormous, 24 inches.
I want to make a 24-inch mirror out of this piece of glass.
Can you explain to us then, how do you turn this into a usable telescope mirror?
Actually, what you do, you have to grind the mirrors. And then you have something called a tool. For example, here's a tool And this tool goes on with some abrasive. So you put on a little heap of carborundum, which is an abrasive, and you wet it through, so it's a wet grinding process.
I remember when I made my telescope, the tool was the same size as the mirror blank.
Yes.
So is that not the case here?
Yeah, for small mirrors it's the case, but when you have bigger mirrors, it's the cost, because they're quite expensive.
Of course, yes.
And secondly, you can't drag it over anymore because the friction gets so much.
And so what do you do with this then?
You put the glass on it, and then you start grinding, which is actually quite noisy. It's like you're scratching the mirror to the right shape. And then once the shape is there, you start to get finer abrasives to get the surface to get the surface roughness down.
Once you've got it very fine, you've then got to polish it, and I love that bit. That's the best bit.
That's
what
really
I recognise this.
Is that what this is for?
Yes. Yeah. A ground mirror looks like this. It's actually, it doesn't reflect light. It looks like a milky glass, like frosted glass.
Yeah.
And actually, I have a mirror here, which looks from the back side exactly the same, but the chocolate side, it looks different.
There's no frosting on this.
Yes, it's now completely reflective.
Yeah.
And how do you get there? It's actually, you use a tool with some soft material on, which is optical pitch.
Yes.
It's a pitch lap. And this pitch lap, when I put this on here, this pitch lap is made wet and pressed on to get exactly the same shape. And then you start polishing the mirror. You hear no noise doing it. It's very silent.
It's an odd thing.
And magically, after about an hour or so, your mirror starts to get glossy.
Right.
After a few hours, the mirror is polished out, and then you can, for example, focus the sun in it, and you can project the sun so that you can see this mirror is working.
I got into a lot of trouble actually making my pitch lap when I made my mirror, because I boiled the pitch up on my mum's stove in a pot,
hooligan,
and it makes quite a lot of smell, doesn't it?
Yes, it's very smelly, and also when you drop some pitch down and you walk it through the flat
I wasn't
to the
popular.
house.
I did not get to the pitch stage.
it's very dirty.
When I tried grinding a mirror, I did not get to the pitch stage because I managed to break both the mirror and the blank.
But then once you've got it polished, that's when you send it off to be aluminized.
Once you have it aluminized and there's a silicon layer on it to protect the aluminium layer, it lasts for years.
Jürgen's first telescope took him 2 years to make, but he has it down to a fine art. His record is making an 8-inch mirror in just 21 days. Impressive stuff.
It's the feeling, once you put a telescope together with your self-made optics, and you put it together, look at a planet or something, and you see it in full glory, and you realize it's your optics.
It is.
Feelings I shall never have.
You shall. Well, maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Jürgen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jürgen.
Oh, you're welcome.
Back garden observatories are the backbone of astronomy. Over the years, the Sky at Night has visited a few, so it's back to Patrick for something special from the archives.
In 1970, I went to see another of our very well-known amateurs, Dr. Frank Ackfield. He has his observatory, and here's the clip.
Good evening. Well, as you can see, I'm not in a BBC studio. I am, in fact, at Newcastle on Tyne, at Frank Ackfield's observatory at Forest Hall, and we're delighted to have Frank with us for this evening's Sky at Night. This very neat and efficient-looking dome contains a 10-inch reflecting telescope. And just to make sure that we all know where we are, the latitude and longitude is given on the door.
Frank's dome and telescope were all built by his friends just after the war. In those days, enthusiasts made everything by hand, from the mirror to the telescope mount.
Yes, Patrick, actually it's made of rubberoid roofing felt, reinforced with wire netting underneath to stop it sagging in case of any weight of snow or anything on top of the building, you know.
Do you find that the dome's easy to turn?
Yes, once you get it going, Patrick, it's quite easy. Look here, you see. Just you to have a try.
Yes. Well, that's pretty easy. There's no difficulty there.
No.
Well, it's a very nice observatory. Well, now let's go and have a look at the telescope.
Yes,
shall
do.
we?
Come and have a look inside.
All right. Well, you've told us about the observatory. What about this very fine 10-inch reflector?
Yes, Patrick. This reflector was made for me by Mr. Tom Whittam of Newcastle, and he came to me and said he didn't like the mounting I had. It didn't fit the lovely observatory. Would I allow him to make mounting equal to the beautiful building in which it was housed?
Let's have a look at the mirror. It's a very nice mirror indeed. Do you always have it illuminized rather than silvered?
I do, Patrick, yes. It's illuminized on the face and anodized on top so that you can dust it, you know.
What's the focal length?
90 inches.
And there, at the bottom of the tube, you can see the 10-inch mirror, which is the essential part of the whole telescope.
Astronomy today uses digital cameras and webcams. Back in the 1970s, Frank used photographic plates, which were extremely delicate and had to be developed by hand. These are some sunspots he imaged just before Patrick arrived.
I think you're very wise, too, in doing your developing and processing actually on the spot.
Yes, this is my darkroom, Patrick. And what I do is this. I have my developer and my hypo here. Then I put my plate into the developer and I'm able to rock the dishes for the required time at the required temperature. Once this is done, I can remove them, wash the plates, and then transfer them into the enlarger here. Then if you have a picture like this, say, and wish to enlarge it, then simply by moving this height up here, then you can enlarge from a picture like this to a picture the size of the table.
This is one of Frank's pictures of the full moon, taken with the 10-inch reflector, of course.
Frank contributed a great deal to astronomy, although nothing now remains of his observatory. But it was the tireless work of dedicated amateurs like Frank which inspired today's generation of astronomers.
Next in our observatory tour, we're going to Hexham and the light pollution-free rural countryside of Northumberland. I've come to visit amateur astronomer Peter Vasey. From his back garden, Peter looks over the Pennines and has a wonderful view of the southern horizon. Quite simply, an astronomer's paradise. Peter has an 8-inch reflecting telescope and takes all sorts of wonderful images, not only of the popular Messier objects, but also some more obscure targets. Have you ever seen anything as perfect as the Soap Bubble Nebula?
So Peter, here we are in rural Northumberland. It's a lovely area, and at the moment we've got beautiful sunshine. Is that a common occurrence up here? Or?
Well, it does happen occasionally. I'm more interested in the night time. Having said that, so we're looking through my solar scope, and we see sunspots and prominences.
Okay, so you do some solar observing
oh,
as
yes,
well as...
indeed, yes, when the sun shines, which it does.
Yeah,
but of course, nighttime is what I really came here for.
The dark skies and clear southern horizon, combined with his little observatory tucked away behind the bushes, allow Peter to take pictures of some of the most beautiful objects that grace our night skies. Here is the Lagoon Nebula, a fabulous sea of gas which contains a vast array of astronomical objects. Peter also has wonderful images of the Cocoon Nebula and the Trifid Nebula. It's easy to forget that these objects are many light years across and thousands of light years away. More distant still, galaxies are a particular favourite of Peter's.
Well, everybody likes M51, don't they?
Oh,
we get a lovely view of it here. It gets quite high in the spring. I like NGC 891, that beautiful edge-on galaxy. There are some fainter galaxies, more obscure galaxies, which aren't well known, but they're a challenge. I like to have a go at them, you know.
Galaxies are island universes, each containing billions of stars. They come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, from enormous elliptical balls to grand spiral galaxies. They're sometimes found in groups and clusters, making for some beautiful arrangements. When they get particularly close to each other, their immense gravitational pull distorts their shapes, and it's these oddball galaxies that Peter particularly likes to observe.
The light has come from such a long way away. Those photons have travelled for millions of years to get here and either end up their journey on your retina, if you're doing it visually, seeing a little faint grey blob in your telescope, or of course on the camera chip or film, where you can integrate it over a long period and pick out all the wonderful complexity and intricacy of these marvellous things.
Peter is fortunate to live in such a dark location, but some astronomers manage to successfully observe from the light-polluted cities.
It's the last of our observatories, and time to leave the northeast and come down to Southampton. I'm here to meet Dr. Lillian Hobbs, who has a very interesting setup in her back garden. Dr. Lillian Hobbs' first passion is astronomy, and her second passion is motorbikes, touring the world seeing spectacular locations. Dr. Hobbs has been to Patagonia in South America, Chile, and the roof of the world, the Himalayas. Lillian has 2 observatories. The largest one houses her refractor, where she does most of her astronomical imaging. And like some of our other astronomers, she has taken some fabulous images of the galaxies. I take her journey down to the bottom of her garden, where Lillian keeps her observatories.
Hello, Lillian.
Hello, Paul.
2 telescope domes. I'm very impressed.
Well, this is just the small dome. Let me show you my larger dome.
Oh, yes, please. I am very impressed. I'm just a little bit envious.
This is where all the action happens, in here.
Oh, this is where I lose my head. Well, Lillian, thanks for inviting us to one of 2 magnificent observatories you have here. Why don't you tell us what got you into astronomy?
Well, I first got into astronomy during the Apollo era. I remember watching the Apollo landings, and my brother also had a great interest in astronomy as well. So as soon as I was old enough, I joined my local astronomy club and used to dream of owning a really nice telescope.
Yes.
And so that was really how it started.
And what was your first telescope?
My first telescope was a nice 3-inch refractor, and I just used to go out, look at the moon. I did take my camera, and I've still got a paperweight with my first photograph of the moon that I took.
Good Lord. First photo... I've never even managed to take a photograph of the moon, so you've got one up on me. Well, I think it's fair to say you've upgraded since then.
Just upgraded just a little bit over the year.
Then you got hold of this one. This is a fine telescope.
It's a 7-inch refractor. No, I must confess there were a few more telescopes before this one.
Lord.
So I worked my way up, really, over the years.
Lillian loves galaxies. You can see them in binoculars, but with Lillian's telescope, they look magnificent. The many billions of stars are resolved beautifully. This is M51, or the Whirlpool Galaxy, which is in the constellation of Canis Venatici, or the Hunting Dogs. These are 2 galaxies caught in a gravitational embrace. The serene beauty conceals the fact that the smaller galaxy is being ripped apart. Who knows? Perhaps in one of the stars in one of these galaxies there may be a planet with an astronomer looking back at us.
Is this your main observatory then?
This is my main observatory, so this is an 8-foot fiberglass dome.
It's quite sturdy.
It's very sturdy. It's survived a few storms.
And in here, what do you mostly do?
Well, in here, what I like to do is I like to take photographs.
Right.
All right, just nothing serious, although I've got some very serious kit, but it's just for fun. I'd love to image sort of galaxies, nebulas, things like that. So one of my real favourites is the Horsehead Nebula.
Ah, yes. That's very hard to pick up visually.
It's very hard to pick up visually. In fact, even here with the scope, I find that I get a very faint image after about a minute, so I know that I'm in the right vicinity, and then it'll take me about an hour to image the Horsehead.
Well, apart from the Horsehead?
The Flame Nebula as well. I like to do that with my small refractor because it's nice and wide field and I can capture that in.
The Flame and Horsehead Nebula in Orion is made of dense gas and dust, which is lit by the new stars forming within it. The Horsehead's shape is an optical effect, and is just a patch where the dust is so dense no starlight can be seen. Spotting shapes in space can become an astronomical pastime. Lillian's image of the Pelican Nebula is jaw-dropping. This is the Veil Nebula, and to the left is the Witch's Broom. Simply magical.
So what about some of the objects? So we have in sort of Sagittarius, we have a lot of interesting deep sky objects like globular clusters. Do you do anything with that?
I do. One of the problems I do have is anything that's a bit low, because sometimes the garden might need a bit of trimming.
Right.
It's often called the Sagittarius cut if I want to get stuff that's really low.
Middle of the night?
Middle of the night, yes. Get the old head torch out and trim the bushes off a little bit because it's in the way.
I can imagine.
But I have gone after some of the galaxies in Leo, for example. In fact, actually, that's a good fun thing to do, I find, is to do the wide field and just see how many of those galaxies I can pick up.
Yeah, the Vertigo cluster, for example, you've got many, many galaxies
yes.
in there. I love seeing those long exposure photographs. Sort of the whole field is just full of galaxies.
It's just full of them.
Have you managed to count how many you've been able to pick up?
No, because I keep losing track, actually.
Oh, good Lord. Do you ever do anything else other than deep sky? Have you tackled planets and asteroids?
Yep, I love to do planets as well. And in fact, it's one of the things I encourage youngsters when I go out and give talks, and I say to them, Jupiter's a great target because it rotates, and it rotates quite quickly.
Yeah.
And also, you don't need a guided scope for it.
No.
So yes, if there's no decent deep sky objects, or sometimes, if like now when the weather's not very good, and I can only get a short observing spell and the planets are up,
The planets are great for that.
The planets are great.
And the moon as well.
And the moon is great. In fact, I got into doing quite a lot of lunar observations, as it were, or lunar imaging.
Yeah.
Purely because the weather was so bad, and at least you could come out and do something.
Absolutely. That's a great thing, isn't it, about astronomy? There's always something.
There's always something that you can have a look at in the night sky.
Well, Lillian, thank you for inviting us to your observatory.
You're
it's been a
very
real
welcome.
pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This recent image of Jupiter with its stormy belts and vivid red colouring shows the upheaval in the North Equatorial Belt. Jupiter is a turbulent planet, and all you need to see these Earth-sized storms for yourself is a small telescope. Although we have seen some amazing telescopes, you can enjoy looking at the night sky with a Mark I eyeballs or a pair of binoculars. Here is some advice Patrick gave back in 1970 about how to get started in astronomy. It's as relevant today as it was back then.
You know, I'm asked many times every week how one starts taking up astronomy as a hobby, and I always give the same answer. You don't, in fact, need any optical equipment whatsoever, and you certainly don't need a large and expensive telescope. And my advice is that if you want to start taking a real interest in astronomy, the very first step is to buy a star map, which only costs a shilling or two, and then go out and learn your way around the sky. Learn your constellations. And this doesn't really take very long, and the stars become so very much more interesting when you know which is which. If one's only got a very limited amount of money to spend on equipment, and this certainly applies to most of us, then there's a straightforward choice between a very small telescope or a pair of binoculars. And I'm going to give my own views here with the full knowledge that they're open to challenge. I personally wouldn't pay a great deal of money for a very small astronomical telescope because it's going to have a small field and it's not going to have any real advantage over good binoculars. And personally, I wouldn't recommend spending a great deal of money upon any astronomical telescope with an aperture smaller than 3 inches for a refractor or 6 inches for a reflector. Smaller telescopes than that can be got, and they are quite nice, but personally I'd rather go in for binoculars. And binoculars are going to show you a great deal. They'll show you the craters of the moon, they'll show you the 4 big moons of Jupiter, they'll show you the phases of Venus, and all kinds of star fields, double stars and star clusters. Binoculars come in various kinds. This particular pair happens to be 8 by 30s. That means it has a magnification of 8 times, and the object glasses are 30 millimeters in diameter. And that gives you quite a nice broad field. And if you go on and get a pair of, shall we say, 20 by 70s or something like that, which is admittedly going to cost more money, then really it's a good idea to fix up some kind of improvised mounting, because the field is going to be small and it's not going to be easy to hold them steady. But again, this is a matter of personal preference.
It's this good advice that got so many of us started in astronomy. Thank you, Patrick.
There is so much the amateur can do, and I believe astronomy is the best of all amateur hobbies. Now, next month, back to Mars. The probe Curiosity will have landed by then, and we're looking forward to seeing what it has to tell us. So until then, good night.